love to hear you talk a little bit about what happens once you get people in the company.
Yeah, so one of the first things I will tell anyone when I'm doing training with them about retention, engagement at the organization, organizational development, is truly your onboarding process, right? So if I have been hired at XYZ company, the expectation is that I have an offer letter, right, that truly represents the company in a great way. I have communication from either my hiring manager or the recruiter that is clear and professional. When I show up on my first day, right, the orientation is something that is amazing and represents the company well. A lot of times when you see turnover in your first 60 days, it is truly because the onboarding process was poor. And that's because you did not train them well. They did not have a mentor when they got there. They didn't know the questions to ask. There was no training plan. All those things make a candidate feel like they've made a bad choice. And there's no reason why a candidate would stick around anywhere past 2 months if the first 2 months have been horrible for them, right? People want to feel like they've made a really good decision about their employment, especially in these turbulent times. And organizations need to recognize that your training and onboarding methods matter.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Have you seen companies that there was a handoff from the recruiting process? So during the debrief, we know what candidates do well, but there are also places that you're bringing a candidate on and you're like, hey, we don't think they have this fully. So this is a skill that they can develop, or this is a competency that we need to develop and pay attention to, and maybe put that in the development plan. What's been your experience or seeing companies where that information got put into the onboarding process, or at least into the 30, 60, 90-day kind of ramp up plan?
Yeah, so there are two places where that works really well, right? One, that is truly a feature of a best places to work, because the organization has recognized that we've hired a person. When we were going through the interview process, we recognized perhaps there were some deficiencies in their entire skill set, but recognized that that wasn't enough not to hire the person, right? And in doing that, we know when we pass them along to the hiring manager that that person now has some gaps to fill. So in that way, your 30, 60, 90, I mean, to be honest, Cody, a lot of organizations aren't doing that, being completely transparent, right? And that's where the first fallout comes. Right behind that is the organization allowing for any professional development. Is there a tuition reimbursement program? Are they allowed to take any type of soft skills trainings or virtual webinars? Are you allowing your employees to have LinkedIn learning accounts that you pay for, right? If you're not doing those things, you cannot expect your employees to get better if they are always trying to tackle the fires that are in front of them and then trying to figure out how do I close the gap on things that I can't do.
That's a great point. And that point that you just made is just a huge thing. That modernizes the recruiting process itself. You mentioned it's best in class. Just getting that information passed from the debrief for assessment for the candidate into the person's onboarding plan could make a huge difference in retention. So I really think that there's a lot of value in you sharing that.